Hi folks, this is Klaus at Top Hydraulics. We're going to show you today how to fix a very common problem on the Corvette C6 model years 2005 through 13 with the power top option where when you open the top the tonneau cover will be hitting the rear bow. Now we have already partially opened this top to make the video a little bit shorter so I don't have to climb into the car. I'll hit the button for the top to open and you will see how the edge of the tonneau cover hits the rear bow frame here. You can also sometimes find the front of the tonneau cover hitting the rear glass of the soft top. You see the soft top is a little wiggly here. There needs to be more tension in it, and we'll talk about ways to fix this. So let me push the button down to open the top and you will see the cover colliding with the rear bow a little bit. You saw that. And we will now, let me show you the strap that is the most common cause for this is riveted on top of the B pillar here. It's yay long, maybe 4 or 5 inches, and it is screwed into a frame member back here. This strap, when it wears out, lets tension off the rear bow and the rear bow sags down a little bit. So the most common way to fix this is not every time that you open the top to pull the rear bow back, but there's actually a pretty simple fix. If you're handy, you can get this done in less than an hour. And we'll show you some close-up photos. Again, the front of this strap is riveted. You leave that alone, but the rear is fastened in the frame if you follow the strap down with a 7mm hex sheet metal screw, and that screw is screwed in upright. You undo the screw and you simply pull the strap a little bit longer. The Chevy bulletin says to only move the hole in the strap by a 1/4 inch, but actually you can go as far as a 3/4 inch to make this fix last a while. We'll show you some close-up photos. It's kind of impossible to show you a video of exactly unscrewing this bolt because you just can't get the camera in there well enough. So again, we'll blend in some still photos. Once you shorten the strap on this side, on one side, you want to shorten the one on the other side just as much to get even tension on this bow, and that will most likely fix the problem. While I'm at it, there is more that can be adjusted on this top, but typically again go with what is most likely, that is simply a wearing out elastic. There are hard adjustments that can be made to the top that will not fix the problem if your strap is worn out. One hard adjustment is this tension rod bar. We will show it in close-up in a minute. Has an adjustment on the top where you can make this bar shorter. It theoretically pulls the rear bow up a little bit tighter, but again, it will not fix your problem if the strap is worn out. Lastly, you can also adjust how far the whole frame moves forward, and basically there are some limit screws in the frame that limit how far the frame moves. If you back those down a little bit, then theoretically your frame moves forward a little bit. Well, if the frame moves forward, there are some pins in the front here that are supposed to line up exactly in the windshield header. Then you also have to move these pins back. Hope that makes sense. Again, having to align the whole soft top frame makes sense only if there's extreme wear on it or if the car has been in a fender bender. Otherwise, normally a frame does not need adjustment on its own. So let's move the camera and we will show you a few details of how we're adjusting the straps and how theoretically the tension rod here can be adjusted. Okay, so come a little closer and we'll show you more details. And by the way, we have secured the front and the rear bow together with some bungees. You can also use some strapping, whatever fits for you, whatever you can make work. We basically just want to make sure that the top doesn't flop down while the hydraulic system is relaxing. As you know, if you stop the top midway after some 3 minutes, the top automatically relaxes, and we want to avoid that. Now that we have front and rear bow, front bow, rear bow as close together as possible, we have the least tension on this strap that we're going to show you next. So next frame we'll be showing you where the elastic strap is mounted and how we're undoing that. Taking this shot from with the camera inside the storage compartment, we're now moving towards the rear bow, showing you the location of this bolt for the strap. Here's the infamous strap that is too weak. It has a 7mm hex head bolt here, and that bolt can be either located close to the frame, or there's another bolt hole over here where it could also be located. So you could find this strap in this location, or you could find it a little bit farther inside. I've also seen photos of a Phillips screw instead of a 7mm hex head, but right here we have a 7mm. So we have flipped the bow, carefully flipped the bow forward some more, the way it does not normally rest, but it gives us easier access to this bolt. And I have loosened it a little bit already, so now I can turn it by hand just with this extension here. And here we go. We have our loose strap, and we want to relocate this bolt about a 3/4 towards the inside. In order to do that, I've practiced it once before. I actually pushed a little pick, an 1/8 inch pick, through the fabric, and then backed it out with a bolt on that pick, and wiggled a little bit to make the hole a little bit bigger, and then got the screw in here. Let's see if I can find that spot again. Well, we'll improvise a little bit. I think I pretty much have it already. There we go. Whether we go with 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch shouldn't make too much of a difference. This is just a tad over a 1/2 inch. We just want to make sure we hit it at the same distance on the other side. Now we just try to make this bolt grab again and tighten it up. And so we will tighten this bolt a little bit more, do the same thing on the other side. And so we assume that you have already checked the elastic straps in here, or already adjusted or replaced them the way we've shown you earlier. And we assume that there is no major adjustment needed to the frame, because the frames don't normally wear out by themselves, and you would know if your car had been in an accident. If still the tonneau cover hits the frame of the rear bow hard while opening the top, then you actually have a bad pump. And let me show you what a bad pump does. We hit the frame really hard on this rear bow, and it confused the whole system here momentarily. Anyway, in this case you see it hitting this hard and the straps are good. Then your next step is replace the pump with a rebuilt one from Top Hydraulics. Should be good for 30 to 50 years, because we really make these pumps better than brand new inside. We eliminate the weak spots and should last, as I said, 30 to 50 years. And of course we'll show you how to replace that pump. Removing and replacing the convertible top pump in a Corvette C6 is actually quite easy. You can do it in a half an hour if you know how, and we'll show you how it's done. So down here we have the tools needed. That's a 10mm socket, just some cutters for zip ties, and a 5mm Allen wrench to remove hoses from the pump. The pump is inside the soft top storage compartment all the way on the side, on the passenger side. We only need to undo this one nut that holds the carpet piece in place, and we bend the trim over, and here is our pump. Ta-da! You have the minimum maximum fluid level on the pump. If you ever see the fluid level under minimum, of course you can fill it up, but it will not fix the problem. It means you have a leak somewhere. That leak most likely is from one of the cylinders. The cylinders typically leak in the most unlikely place, one would think, that is through the rear mounting bolts. It's one of the first seals in those cylinders to fail. Those cylinders have 7 seals. Anyway, the pump here is mounted in a frame. That frame is tied down. We've loosened already the nuts. 1, 2, 3 10mm nuts that I'll quickly take out here. And one all the way on the bottom. For that one we use an extension. Next we will undo the wiring harness and remove the hoses from the pump. And if you get a replacement pump from Top Hydraulics and Core Exchange, it doesn't cost more. There's only a refundable deposit. Then you can just do a plug and play, that is, take the old one out, reconnect everything, and you got it going again very quickly. So one zip tie to be cut up here, and one zip tie all the way down here on the bottom. Then to undo the wiring harness, you squeeze on this end, then you can move the purple tab down and pull this connector off. And here we go, we already have the whole pump loose, and we only need to pull this connector off the pump frame. Next I'll show you how to remove the hoses from the pump. That is, we unscrew these 2 5mm socket head screws with the Allen wrench, and then we tug a little bit on each individual hose to loosen them up. Then we pull all hoses out together at the same time. The hoses will stay confined to this plate, and if you look very closely, then you will see that each hose has a 2-digit number printed on it in yellow, tannish, sometimes it's white or red ink, and the numbers on the hoses match what's engraved on the plate here. For example, number 24, is it 24? No, it's 34. Number 34 engraved on the plate. I don't want to bend this hose too hard, and here it is printed in yellow on the hose itself. The manufacturer went a little bit weak on the hose material. The walls are pretty thin. The replacement hoses from Top Hydraulics, if you ever need any, are much better quality. The way we see it from most manufacturers is that after a certain number of years they quit supplying things like hoses and pumps. Currently they're still available for the Corvette. This is year 2018. Let's see how long it lasts. For example, the Corvette's cousin, the Cadillac XLR, you are not able to buy pumps for anymore, and they're running out of cylinders and hoses. So we tug a little bit on each individual hose, and we've done this a little bit before, so they're already loosened. One more thing, I will get some paper towels and try to prevent a mess in here. For hydraulic fluid, of course you can buy Corvette fluid or Chevy fluid. The fluid used in the system is made by Exxon. It's a Univis HVC26. Its closest cousin is Pentazine CHF11S, and all of these fluids are made for the most modern standards of flammability and so forth. The best choice in our eyes at Top Hydraulics is Mercedes fluid. It doesn't smell as badly. It does not attack clear coat if you accidentally have fluid dripping on your clear coat. So for fluid you actually want to use Mercedes fluid 000-9899103. That doesn't smell as badly, it works just as well, and it's a lot cheaper than Chevy fluid. So here we are, we have disconnected the whole pump, and now we can just take it out and swap in the replacement from Top Hydraulics. Ta-da!